All right, got you guys up overhead, but I still have the paper attached to the block. Again, we're using our watercolor paper, the B Company paper. I do have that linked to my Amazon store in the description. It's I did check, and you can get this 50 sheet. I don't know that I have that one listed. I think that it's 30, and it's around $10. I think I did find this later on, this exact one, and it really wasn't that much more expensive. If I find it again, I'll link that too. But it's inexpensive paper, good quality. This is cold press. I don't mind cold press. I'm just thinking if I want to take it off the block or paint on the block. But I think that angling wise, my hands may appreciate it being taped down. So let's do that. This will be our next one, a cardinal. I think I'm going to do that in watercolor too, and show you guys how to do some abstract watercolor. I think that will be fun. I did a video on some abstract watercolor. It's the lily pads. I'll link that video too if you want. I don't know that I did that right from start to finish, but you can see the technique, and I did the abstract technique on the lily pads. The secret on taping your, let's see if I got it in the frame here. Can you guys see it okay? Paper is to do, because a lot of times you'll see people tape their paperwork down, but then they'll just go like, they'll do this side, then this side, then this side, and then this side. Well, then your tapes overlap and you can't get them off. So tape, it doesn't matter. You can start this side, do this side, and then this side, and then tape over that way. So you tape the opposite sides and your tape will come off better. I'll show you what I mean when we take the tape off. I didn't do that in one of the last videos, and I know that I should have, because that's my favorite part too, or one of my favorite parts of watching the videos is to seeing that reveal. What is about that? Does anybody know? Why is that so satisfying? Doesn't have to be exact. Your eye won't even notice if they're not exactly even. I promise. All right. And while we're doing this, I did spray my watercolors. So those are waking up. They were asleep this morning still. And I did use some graphite and sketch this out, but then I thought, well, you guys on the camera aren't going to be able to see that. So I did go in and do some line work with my pen. I'll show you which pen I used. It's a graphic 0.1 water and fade proof. It's a Master's Touch. I wasn't sure if I was going to do line with my watercolor. I probably wouldn't for personal preference, but for visibility on the camera, I did. So there's that. You can do whatever you want. If you want to keep it in just a pencil drawing and then paint over that, that's fine. I'm sure this is still going to come out really nice. Well, I hope it does. haven't really worked it out. I mean, I didn't do any practice painting. I know a lot of artists on here do that, but I like to be just as surprised as you guys are. Sorry, I bumped the... He's probably a little closer to the edge than I would like. So when you're drawing it, you can move that over a little bit. And I'm not going to rub this because I don't want to make any graphite marks, you know, smudging the... This is just a mop brush, paintbrush. I have several of these sizes, so I've just dedicated one to, whoops, cleaning off my paper. And go ahead and throw it around the studio if you like. I mean, I just did, so there you go. Some of the bits get stuck in the bristles, so that's why after I brushed it that there's still some there. So anyway, I have a smaller mop brush. I'm thinking I'm going to do a gray winter sky and excuse me, and maybe some blue shadowy pine trees, Christmas trees behind them. I wasn't sure if I was going to maybe put a few presents in here. We'll see about that. But I do have some snowdrifts. Well, I'll show you how I handle those. And yeah, let's, I'm going to put some water. I'm not going to do, well, maybe I'll do this whole background, do some water. That's why I'm using a mop brush. I should use a bigger one, but that's the one I pulled out. So let's just go with that. And get my water a little closer. Don't go right up to the lines either, because your paint is going to spread and wherever you put this water. And so I try to stay as far from the lines as possible, and we can guide it in closer if we need to. Okay, so there's that. Let's get a gray color mixed. Let's see, I'm gonna do my famous blue and brown. That makes a nice warm gray. And I'm gonna do darker up at the top and let it fade really light. I think there's some purple in there. We're going to bring this color down here because we don't want to create any weird lines. Remember we talked about that? This will fade lighter. Bring in this color here. Not sure how I'm gonna handle the trees. We'll see. We'll see what. I like painting on cold press. I mean, I like painting on either. But I like the texture that shows through. That's kind of fun. Get some more water on my brush. I'm not going to get any more color. I'm going to see how you can bring it up close to your lines with just a little bit more water on your brush. All right, let's work somewhere else. Let's work down here while this dries. All right, so these look like rocks, but I was intending them to be snow drifts. So let's get some blue and some of that brown color that we were using. And I want some more blue. I want it to be more blue. Oops. That's okay. Just clean off your brush, dampen it off, and we can fade that out. That's perfect. That's fine. I'm going to feather these edges so that we don't get any hard edge. Just clean water on my brush. Just let the color go as far as it wants to with the water. Maybe I should put some shadowy blue color under these guys. We didn't wet this, so it's going to give a different look. Which is fine. That's also fine. It makes it a little bit darker, which probably I want. Clean it off, good clean water. Feather that edge. There. Okay, so let's think about, maybe we can do their shoes while this is all drying. Just going into the darkest brown that I have. I'm not wetting this area because I want it nice and vibrant. color. Oh, I'm using a 8 round. I use this brush for both my acrylic painting and watercolor. Don't worry about details. Don't worry about that this isn't dark enough. We're gonna come in and probably go over all of this anyway. We're just blocking color in right now. We call this the blocking in stage. Or that's what I call it. You can call it whatever you want. I need to put some more water on that color. Ooh, I like that. Got mixed in with that's a good shadow. I'm gonna put some over here. I didn't mean to put that much water on my paint, but that's okay. I'm gonna soak some of that up. Clean my brush, brush it off really good on my towel, and there we go. He's further away, so his coloring is going to be lighter anyway. And yet here I go with a nice dark color. Oh my gosh. I really like that. I don't know what that was. Let's see if we can find it. It's got a bit of a purpleness to it. Let's see, we have burnt sienna, raw umber. It's a good dark one. I'm thinking that it's raw umber. I don't know. That's still wet. Let's work on their shirts. I think I'm going to do maybe red and green and then blue. And the only reason why I'm probably doing his coat blue because the trees are going to be probably bluish, and I didn't want these guys to be blue further back in the... All right. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know. We'll see. See how this works out. have my overhead light on. This just feels like painting a coloring book. Nothing wrong with that, but I just don't typically paint like this. Now, we can paint on top of this without that it's wet with some shadowy colors. I'm thinking that brown might, where it's got some purple tone. All right, let's see. Because what's going to happen is they're going to mingle together. And spread. All right, let's see if that works. I'm gonna do a little pink nose. Let's see what I got for. So you can do one of two things. Use this red, really water it down, or if you have a pink color, I'm gonna water it down. There, see? I'm gonna leave that there for like a shadow under his nose. It's not gonna dry as dark anyway. Okay, so should we do a red hat? I think I might do green mittens. Do it darker here for shadow. I don't have any yellow, or else I would have mixed some yellow in here for the light part. You know, the Oops, I just stuck my finger there. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see if I can. There we go. Let's do a shadow. I didn't clean my brush. I still have some red in there. And like we were talking about the one of the last videos, when you start crossing the color wheel, then you start making mud. Well, this is when you would want some mud in a shadow. Red and green are opposites, so that creates a nice neutral shadowy color. All right, let's figure out what we want to do for a hat, but maybe, oh, I like how this is dark, gets lighter. The studio dog also loves it. I'm wondering if I should do a different green and use this sap green as my shadow. I don't know. We'll see. Let's do his hat. We've got quite a bit of snow out there right now. I'm doing that, but you know what we could do? We could also go like this because it's knit, right? You could also do that. Create some texture. Whoops, that's okay. I'll show you. Just clean your brush off in some good clean water. Dry it off pretty good. Come in here with a damp brush. There we go. Lifts right up. Okay, so I'm really at a weird angle because this is sitting flat, obviously, on my desk. And if I'm sitting down, I can't see it very good. So I go outside the lines because of that. Probably why I don't like to create with lines. Oh, geez, Louise. All right, let's let that dry. And we'll do hem and green. I really just like it like this, honestly, the background. That's a nice color. That's one of my favorite mixtures. Blue and a brown. Any blue, any brown. Just play around with. Of course, we're a limited palette, so I mean, my ideal blue and brown is like phthalo blue and a burnt umber. We're just using what blue and brown we have. So again, you can see it doesn't matter what you have. I just wiped my brush off. I didn't clean it. I'm thinking that I didn't want all that paint, and I'm going to make this a lighter green. That's a good technique too, so that we can, when it dries, come in with a more saturated, that same green color, and use that as our shadow. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. This might be dark enough that that's good shadow already. I'm gonna come in with an acrylic paint probably and do the whites. Just because I like to paint that way. And I don't mind. I'm not a purist. I'm not a... I actually prefer mixed media, so there we go. If you want to be a purist and save your whites, go ahead. That may already dry like a shadow, so we'll see how that goes. What color? Mitten. Blue or red? I still have some red on my brush. I just barely dipped it in the water so that we get a nice light pink. Keep that down there for a shadow. See, we did that over here and it didn't. You can't even see it. All right. Blue. I'm gonna need some more blue. This is cerulean. I should have started on the inside. Okay, so let's go down here. And then this side. I'm thinking I might want to do his hat and mittens gray, like a dark gray. I'm thinking as I'm painting what my next step will be, or what I think it should be. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right, because clearly I started here on the next step and that was wrong. So, not that it was wrong, just that I then regretted that I should have gone the other way. You guys have your Christmas shopping done? We got some gift tag coming up here. I think it's going to be Monday's video. So I tried to time it, you know, when people would be probably wrapping their gifts. That was a lot of fun, and it's super cute. All right. I'm gonna let that dry, find my gray, and we'll be back. I think this feels dry enough now, so I was just kind of thinking about the tree line. This is just a Crayola watercolor pencil, actually, but I like a pink or a orange. They're good warm colors and shine through your, because these are going to be blue, right? So that's a cool color. So you want a warm color underneath. I'm just doing, you know, like this kind of shape, because they're kind of not realistic anyway, so let's see. That looks pretty good. And then These don't have to be exact. We're just thinking about it right now. And then I'm going to do some a dark blue, some a lighter blue, some maybe even white. Maybe like this one can be white. I'm going to put some gesso out. This is a good tip too. This was a titanium, a snow, well, they called it snow, but it's really titanium white. When this was gone, I filled this with gesso. You can see I wrote that. And this is what goes out and about with me, with my watercolors. It's just a good travel size. I'm running out of gesso, so I needed to rob my plein air kit. All right, let's do that. Let's do this one white because that's what I'm thinking. And it's okay if this pink mixes in. We might not see this actually because the background is so light. Sorry, I keep hitting the tripod. All right, that works for now. It might I don't want these like super bright. They're faded, like think way in the back. You can barely see them. Let's do this one because this is very light. I'm gonna take some water. Just trying to smooth out those pink lines. Does that make sense? I think that looks like, whoops, sorry, my glasses hit it this time. There. I hope that, yeah, that looks pretty good. This will be a darker blue. I'm going to very watery, but still, you know, pigmented. This is dry, so it's not going, hopefully it doesn't bleed. If we got good paper, should be not a problem. This one, we're just kind of freehanding it in. Clean my brush off. Good clean water. I like it better without the pink, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. All right, so this one's going to be, so see the pattern, the closer trees are darker and they get lighter in the light blue and even white as they get further back. So just depending on how you draw your trees in. This one's going to be white because it's further back. And of course you can't really see it against the light gray background. My brush does have a tiny bit of blue, tiny bit of blue in there, so that's fine. All right, now let's see, a darker blue. Well, there's still some color on here. Let's do this one. All right, there's the tree line. I really like that. All right, so gray. I like watercolor painting because I don't feel like I waste a lot of paint. I try to figure out with my acrylics and oil, you know, wiping it on a palette, or you know, my next piece of art, you know, paper or canvas. I don't know, what kind of tricks do you guys do? I'm sorry, is that shaking the camera? I feel like it's shaking the camera. Sorry. I did a neutral gray. It's out of a tube because I didn't want to mix it and then have it be very, so similar to that. I didn't think about that. So I cheated. Sorry. I'm sorry, is my big fat head in the way? I did dip it in a tiny bit of water just because it was starting to dry, and then the tooth, it's not filling in the tooth. Not that that really matters. I don't really care, but I also didn't want to put out more color. So there we go with that. Picking up more paint to bring it over here. Oh my God. All right, do his pink nose. Out here where there's like just a little bit of color on my palette. All right, now let's think about how we're going to do their beards. I'm gonna use some of that gray in their beard, but how do I want to do it? Do I want to do gray first and then paint white over? Let's do that. Let's do this one that's further away and try that. All right, let's let that dry. And paint over it. And then if that works, we'll do the others. I think this is about dry. Let's use our gesso, and I like gesso because it's, you know, pretty transparent. I'm going to put some water on the tip of my brush. I don't mind that texture either, because that makes it feel shadowy. This just like is like a veil over it, and it doesn't make those harsh, you know, it's covering up the harshness of the gray. Oh yeah, I think I really like that. Okay, let's paint a layer of white. I need to put some more gray out because he's got a big beard. There's no, make it random. I am making it dark up and around, you know, where the shadows would be. It's gonna be dark here. All right, and then do this guy. Can you turn the light on, Jake?
The light is on.
Oh. It's dark in here.
No, it's pretty bright.
All right, we'll let those dry. All right. There we go. Oh, I gotta do that. And there. There's our gnomes. And I hope that you stay messy, playful, and wild, and I'll see you tomorrow in the studio.